Hello and a warm welcome back to the channel. So today I am doing my June tour, which I normally do each month. I do a tour of my front and back gardens, and both of them are a tropical style garden down here in Hampshire on the south coast of the UK. So if you're new to the channel, please don't forget to subscribe and click the like button because it helps me get this content out to as many of you as possible who are interested in this style of gardening. So as I say, today we're going to just have a little look around the garden and see what is looking good, what is not looking so good, and any alterations that I've made really between my last video in May and this one. So there is one big change to the patio area, which I will show you later on in the video. But without further ado, let's go and have a look at the garden. I'm going to start the tour here just as you come into my back garden here through the side gate. And so the biggest change here really is I've added on this side of the garden here. So this phoenix palm was further up in the back garden in an area which I've now added my tree ferns. So this phoenix palm is already in the pot, so I've basically just moved it to this location, and I guess it kind of helps to sort of frame the gateway here. Just off to the side here, I've still got my cordyline and agave, so that's not really changed very much. Since the last tour, I've pruned up the kiwi vine, which runs across the top of the garage there and along this bit of pergola. And I've moved this Camerops humilis here, which it spear pulled one winter, which is why it's looking a little bit of a weird shape here. It is recovering, but because it's not a great looking specimen, I've just put it off to the side here near this climbing rose on there. So the biggest change really this month is my wife bought some brand new patio furniture. Quite a different setup to how we used to have it before. So we used to have like an L-shaped sofa type setup with a large table in the middle, rectangle table, and a couple of kind of chairs off to the side, and a little bistro set with a very low sort of little coffee table type thing. So I've had to, because of obviously the new furniture, I've had to move some of the pots around on the patio. But this is the new set. So we've got like a proper circular dining table here with 6 chairs around it. And this is made by Katie Blake. So it's quite a good quality setup here. So I've moved one of my troughs, which was over this direction here. I've actually moved it to the back there, and the one that was in the back I've moved to near this trellis here. So a bit of a rearrange, but it allows plenty of space to kind of get around and basically enjoy the entertaining area. We've still kept the kind of little snug area with the bistro set. It's a much better quality bistro set we've got now. So yeah, it fits into the space fine. It always wants to be kind of like a little intimate area, and obviously the bamboo there on the right hand side in the trough, that still keeps that kind of separate really from the bar area. I've moved the palm grass into the greenhouse at the moment because that's not doing particularly well, and basically I've added a mint into the pot, which will kind of just flow over the edges of that pot and soften everything. So I've tried to change a few, like make a few tweaks to the garden. So I've pruned back a lot of plants and shrubs and everything. So as we go into this sort of courtyard area, I've pruned back the wisteria just over here, just away from the climbing rose there, because they're all totally merging together. Fig trees looking quite good there with some figs on it still, so they're just growing. and the fuchsia down the bottom's looking good. Now, one thing that's been really disappointing this year is this canna seems to be eaten by slugs or something. But normally that's a really, really strong canna and looks really, really good. But for some reason this year it has done pretty poorly. So we have the foxglove tree, which I pruned back a little bit, but I wanted to keep some of the height on it. And it's resulted in reasonable sized leaves, but I like the look of it. It's now actually a nice shape tree with multiple kind of stems coming off of it. I've tied back a lot of the fatsias. I've used a lot of wire just to pull in these big branches here and allow a little bit more light into this musabaju in the background here. This area was looking a little bit wild with the hydrangeas, so I've pruned those back a little bit. And not really any changes really on this section. I would say the cordyline is growing really, really well at the moment. It's forming a nice thick trunk underneath there. And to be honest, the only thing I've really done with this is pruning up the lower leaves as it grows on there. So that's the courtyard area. Quite a bit of pruning in that area there. So the bar area is looking a little bit more tidy. We used to have lots and lots of pillows with the old dinings, where the old sort of sofa setup that we had. So we've managed to reduce that quite a bit. Although the new dining set has got pillows which are inside the trunks there. It yeah, just less bulky basically. So that's really helped. Oh, the cat's come out to see us. This is Missy. She is really old. She's like 12 years old, but she looks like a kitten. So yeah, anyway, that's the cat. So as we move through the walkway here, so we've got the sago palm, which I've moved into this location, and the bananas moved basically from the left hand side to the right hand side, mainly because I had a Trithanax palm, which is now still in the big pot, but that's now placed over the back there. It's incredibly spiky, so that was spiking people, so I've basically moved that back a little bit. You can see here we've got some passion flowers, which are it's a vine, and that's growing from under the tree there, and it's basically growing through this Elaeagnus. It looks kind of cool there. I got some decent growth on this Inseti banana. This one's looking really good. The second one that I've got is looking really manky and has not done well at all, and I'm probably going to get rid of that one. So yeah, not really pleased with that one. So we've got some new growth actually on this Brahmata. A little bit of singeing with the cold here when it was kind of budding up, but that's looking pretty good. So as we move through the walkway, the alliums are just finishing flowering here, but we have got the aconitum in flower at the moment. Pretty poisonous plant, hence why it's not at the front of the border there. So as you continue to walk through the walkway bit, you can see the cannas are coming up really strongly now, and a good amount of growth on this Fatia camouflage at the back there. I'm quite surprised really the Gunnera is not huge this year, but maybe that's just because of lack of moisture, even though it's kind of growing sort of in the pond or to the side of the pond area here. But it just seems like it should be a lot bigger than it is. So it has been fed and it has been watered, but yeah, a little bit disappointed in that one. The Tetrapanax here is putting out loads of new leaves, gaining height all the time. So yeah, it's a good location for this, and when it grows up here under the tree, I will lift the tree canopy on this sycamore and that will really help get some height on that. A few penstemons in flower here. There's a nice colour one here, but it's quite a weak plant, that one. I don't overly love it. Nice canna in flower here. Now the Butiagrus erythropatha is definitely growing. We've got a decent leaf on it there, really nice new leaf on that side, and we've got a second leaf coming out here. So yeah, even though it got hit by the frost a little bit this year, it is actually now starting to recover and grow pretty quickly. So I'm a lot more happier about that than I was before. Got some lovely flowers on top of this phormium. This is a Tanax variety, so it's a huge one. Just beneath it here, we've got the lovely leaves of the Canna tropicana. This is that kind of walkway bit again. Just enjoy the view across there towards the chicken run. The bananas in the background. Now, a little note about the weather. So we had a really dry spring. Then we had a load of thunderstorms, and we've had a load of rain. Things dry out really quickly this time of year, though, I find. So the wisteria on the back of the house here has now finished flowering. So I've trimmed off all the flowers off of that. It was absolutely stunning. So I've been pruning up this Trachycarpus Wagnerianus. I've pruned up a few of the lower leaves on there just to make it a little bit more even with the one on the right hand pot. Haven't done any pruning on this Butia yet. It's tempting to remove these lower branches as they quite often get in the way of the mower. We've got a nice new spear coming up through the middle. So nice new leaf there. So this Butia has done exceptionally well, and I put it down to the fact that this one is in a slightly more moist position than the one at the top of the garden, and it's turning into a lovely specimen. Really pleased with that. It's only been in the ground probably less than 2 years, and lots of growth on that. We've got these beautiful purple Veronicas. Now they do seed all over the garden, but I do kind of like that sort of informal look, and the foliage is kind of tropical style with that thin leaves, so it does fit in. It's a bit of a leftover from the old cottage style garden that I originally created here, but it does fit in. Now Agapanthus, we had a few years ago, we had really hard frost and they all went to mush, but they've slowly come back, and I think this year is the first year since then that it's going to flower. So that's good news on those. This is the kind of yucca border, various different types. Yucca rostratas putting on loads of new growth. Now I added these Symphovarums, I think they are. These were going at my local garden centre for, I think they were like $2.99 each or something, and they've grown really well so far, and I bought a few of them and they were almost like the last ones left, so I was pleased I got those. So although the Niphophia red hot pokers at the back of the garden finished flowering about a week ago, this smaller variety is still flowering. That adds a little bit of heat, nice hot colours to the border. Pleased with this yucca here, is starting to get massive. Lots of very special specimen, that one. Not sure I put it in the right place though. because it's right near my kind of log cabin area. Loads of new growth on the Trachycarpus palms here. So these were the ones I got from Seagrave Nurseries, and I got them with about 30-35 centimeters of trunk on them, and they've easily doubled in size, if not tripled in size, in the time that they've been in. Just hiding at the back there is my Tetrapanax. That's the second one that I've got, and this one down here is actually in a pot, and this was a runner from this one at the back here. We've got Dahlia hiding in there, which is growing, but no flowers yet. You'll notice with my garden that I do actually repeat plant quite a bit. So yeah, there is some specimens, like for instance this Arundodonax. This is the only specimen that I've got in the garden. But most plants I've got 2 to 3 clumps or plants in the garden. So we have another kiwi vine over the top of the shed here. Just show you around this section. So the reason why this palm is on multiple pots is basically because it's spear pulled. This was the one I got for free. You'll see that in one of my other videos. But I'm glad to say we have a brand new spear growing on there. So although it's a regular Trachycarpus, I kind of saved that one. So I'm really pleased with that. Now, one thing that's really been good is these were my little colocasia black stems. I think these ones were. These were the ones I took cuttings of, or like took the little runners off of, in case the main plants died. And the main plant really suffered in the frost this year, and I thought it had almost completely died off. But I'm pleased to say that the main plants are starting to grow again. Everyone always likes to see the behind the scenes operation. So these are a load of cuttings. There's quite a lot of persicaria and a few bits in here. These are cuttings and plants that have seeded in the wrong place. Basically, I'm growing these on for my National Garden Scheme open day. I put this rose in the ground. This was always in a pot, just in this location here, but decided to put it in the ground. It's a nice tropical style colour that goes well with the garden, and with all the extra watering, I thought I may as well put that in the ground. Pleased with this border. This is my kind of woodland style border. I do have some sort of epiphyte type plants wired to the lilac at the back there. I realised that a lot of my palms, I really should have watered them a lot more in the first year they were in. So a lot of them had this kind of little bit of crispiness to the tips, but they are getting better as time goes on. Now, I did prune the lilac, which is here on the left. I basically pruned it away from the banana plant just there, because I wanted the banana plant to have a bit more space to grow there. And it was quite interesting because when I trimmed this back, I managed to get some of the sawdust in my eye, and it was absolutely horrendous. For about 3 days, my eye was really itchy and watery. I really struggled to get it out. So on this section here, this I'm much more pleased with than I had than it was before, because I had the Phoenix palm here, which is at the front, well, it's the side gate area of my house, and I've now moved this Washingtonia robusta into a position, and the plants around the front of it are now starting to sort of hide the pot a little bit. We're getting some good growth on the pineapple sage, which I have to dig up every year and bring in because it's not totally frost hardy on there. So really pleased with this border, looking really good. Basically, I've just thinned out some of the plants in this area and trimmed back For example, this Mahonia soft caress, there's a big branch of it coming out over all of this area here that was hiding all these beautiful heucheras and ferns here. So I've pruned that back. It is starting to become quite a decent sized plant now. Now this area we've got, this was the banana insetti that's not doing very well, and I think I might take that to work and let that recover in the greenhouses there. So that is going to come out basically. So this area is my kind of fern area, and at the beginning of May I ordered some tree ferns from Seagrave Nursery. It was a bit of a kind of last minute purchase really. I have done a video on the tree ferns, so I won't go into too much detail about that in this video, but this area is basically going to become my kind of fernery area with the tree ferns in that position, and I have got various other ferns dotted all around this area, and I use these logs and stuff just to kind of mimic that kind of natural sort of under canopy in a kind of woodland area. So not much colour in this section other than the Brunner Jack Frost leaves at the bottom there. Loads of new growth on the Fatsia polycarpus. Looking really good. That's put on definitely a couple of feet of growth this year despite the dry weather. And we have lots of figs on the fig tree, and I've opened up this area here, moved the bench, and that's gone up towards the shed area, and that's allowing the rhubarb to get extra light and extra growth. Nothing's really changed in this area too much, apart from on the irrigation system. I have an outlet that fills up the pond, and I've added a hose pipe here so I can spray the tree ferns, because they generally need to be sprayed with water quite frequently. Look at this beautiful leaf on this banana plant. So I think this is Musa sycamensis. That's looking really good. You can see the bark stripping of the Trachycarpus fortunii there. That's looking really good now. And as we head towards the pond area, so we've got a few plants still in pots, which will pot up and probably move at a later date. Little highlight here, we've got this lovely water lily, the sort of pinky yellow on this side. And there is a white one actually over in this section here. A bit hard to see on the video. You can see lots of ferns and repeat planting going through here. And this is the view as you come through the gate